What's y'all? Speaking of Bay State Academy, what is your school's mascot name?
Oh, the Bulls.
Bay State Academy Bulls.
Yeah, and we use the Chicago Bulls logo on top of it.
Oh, absolutely. So y'all plagiarizing. I got you, Coach.
You call it what you want to call it. We call it, we just use it.
Okay, so we're here at the South End Community Center, Hoop for Hoop Topics. I got my man, Coach Curtis Lewis, and my man again, Coach Bird. Coach Bird, what is actually you work here at the South End Community Center. What is your official role or title here at the South End?
My job title is, I'm the athletic director.
Okay.
I oversee a lot of our youth sports. I do a lot of our rentals where people call in for rentals for gym space or up in the classroom, whatever, community meetings, all that stuff.
Okay. What type of activities do you do here at the South End as far as daytime programs, so on and so forth? Because I do hear kids going around. We got a JV basketball going on in the background.
Right now we have an open gym Monday through Friday for the adults. We're working on getting more time for kids. As the high school season ends, our gym times will open up more. We have after school programs going. We have summer camps, fitness programs. And we're still building our program as we go.
That's what's up. Now, who is Wesley Jackson still the director of the South End?
He's executive director.
Executive director. Okay. My man, Wes Jackson
does a phenomenal job.
Okay.
Well, I got a couple questions. One of my questions is, we know that you've been coaching for Bay State for like 3 years now.
This is my third season.
Now, where did you actually start? Where did you actually start from?
Started off doing bitty basketball and regular CYO with Wilshire.
Okay.
And then I left Wilshire and I was a lady baller coach with James G for X amount of years.
I remember that. Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
And then when I left the Lady Ballers, I was hired at East Long Meadow High School by Tony Bergeron. And then we left East Long Meadow and went to Commonwealth. And then from Commonwealth here.
That's what's up. So let me ask you a question. Since you've been in the game for quite some time as far as coaching goes, you played a little bit. You were a great baseball player, I heard, at Holyoke High. Since you've been coaching, though, have you noticed a change in the, because we've talked to a few other coaches, a few folks, we talked to Sheldon Cooney. He's consistent with his understanding of what the dynamics of high school sports is. Has it changed since you got into coaching?
Kids in general has changed.
Okay.
For example, we would go out when we were kids and shovel out half a court to play. We didn't have the distractions that kids have today as far as social media, real cable TV.
Real TV. Right. How many
Internet.
channels was that?
We had to flip. We didn't have, so, I mean, it's every era, generation is different. We always gonna say, well, the era we played in is better than this one.
Right. We discussed that.
But
Right.
I think overall, if you go let's go NBA basketball. I think the players back then were better players. The players now are more athletic.
By that you mean fundamentally sound?
Yes.
Okay.
Players now are more athletic, so they were able to get away with a lot more stuff that
Not using the left hand, you don't have to because you can jump 4 feet over the brim. You pretty much got it. I got you.
Well,
so I don't even like getting into that debate of what was better. Right. It is what it is. We as coaches we have to change and adapt to what the times are.
Right.
well, that is totally true. But through all of this, a lot of fundamental basketball has been lost.
No question.
Especially compared of these 80s and 90s, and we talk about different era. You got to pretty much teach fundamental basketball, and maybe I'm wrong. No. You got to teach fundamental basketball at a high school level right now.
You're not wrong. You guys, you have. I played against your son a few times. You've seen my teams play. Yeah. We skill develop a lot.
Yeah.
We just don't roll the balls out and say, here, now we're going to go play pickup games.
Yeah.
We do skill development as much as possible. I need to make sure my kids can use both hands. I need to make sure they know how to pivot and do things like that, because the style that we play, you have to have it.
Yeah.
You can't just play this up and down style of game and not know how to cut people off, how to cut the court in half, how to use both hands. It's something that we talk about all the time.
Yeah, well, that brings me to another question too as well. What do you think about the youth basketball? You know, the traveling teams, the AAU teams, and everything else. My only reason why I bring this up to you because, you know, you hear certain youth coaches say that they should have an interaction with these coaches, with the high school coaches, because they're leaving them, and maybe they can help out a certain way, or be able to be helpful for your program and things of that matter.
I think it's a crime that coaches can't be with their kids all year round. I think there's no way for kids to continue to develop if their coach is not with them. So what I do is I have what I call my special assistants who are not with me on the sidelines.
Okay.
But they can conduct a whole bunch of skill development stuff in the off season.
Yeah.
So my staff is pretty large, but you won't know it if you come to a game. But I have a group of 2 other men that in the summer and spring would just get out with the kids and do skill development without me being around.
Well, one guy I can mention, I don't know if he's still, I don't even know his real name, but y'all call him Chi-Town.
Yeah.
And he was coaching at the Family Center.
Yep.
I think it was the Unity team.
Yeah, my old youth program. Will Coach Richmond does a lot of stuff outside of what we do.
And you know, I don't throw this out there too much, but he kind of like remind me of my father. My father was very loud and motivating, and he's a very loud person, and he's very motivated, not disrespectful, but he's pushing the kids.
He gets to his point.
Yeah.
This is what his point is, and this is what he wants.
Yeah.
And it's clear. So he does a phenomenal job for me. I could not be more happy with the things he does for me.
Well, he's from a larger city, Chicago. I'm from a bigger state in New York, which the style of basketball. Will and I
What
talk
state was
about
that? Canada.
If Canada was a state,
Okay.
I wouldn't be from it. I'm New York state, brother. I just wanted to put that out there to you. So, with that said, when I talk with Will, he discusses the differences in how the kids view the world of basketball and how they react to the coaching. Do you find that the kids are, because they always pick on Springfield, they pick on this area, that they got a small town mentality. Do you see that in the players that you have, or?
Yes and no. I say no because I try not to think about you're a small town.
Okay.
I instilled a chip on my kid's shoulder because we are a D4 program, which we don't run our program as a D4 program. We run our program as we could beat anybody who's in front of us.
That's true.
If we take care of our business, no one beats us. And that's the mentality that I'm trying to build into my program.
It's a good philosophy to have. Coach, just 1 second. Coach Kurt, we're going to take a short break.
Senior night with Hoop Topics.
We're back with Coach Dion Whispers Bird here at Bay State Academy. And it's senior night, Coach Bird. Senior night. How many seniors do you have?
We have a total of 5 kids tonight who's going to be recognized. One of them's been full-time starter for me for 3 years. One of them is a young lady who plays on the girls team, and we have 3 others. Well, what we're going to do is before the game, we'll probably talk to a few of your guys, and we'll see what they feel about you. For the most part, I've talked to a few of you guys, Coach Kurt and I. And Kurt, what was your feedback from some of the players when you spoke to them previous to them?
Well, when they say Dion, they never say your first name. They say Coach. You know, they say he's a good coach. You know, he's tough. He pushes us hard, and they always look forward of just being playing and getting the knowledge that they're receiving from him. And when a kid say that, and I'm not going to tell you which one, and when the kids say that, that means you're doing the right thing.
I'm not sorry. You know,
and I'm gonna be honest with you. This kid that I'm talking about, he comes off the bench.
Wow.
So for a kid that comes off the bench and he gets his minutes in, but they're just telling you what type of impact that you actually put in these kids' lives.
Well, it's important. Thank you. You know, we have a group chat that I never turn off. So we chat every day, all year round. And sometimes no one should ever see what's going on in that group chat. It's just fun. You know, I have, we have a really good time together, but they understand that there's boundaries between coach and player, man and player, mentor and player.
Right.
But I hope the kids know that they can always come to me if they need something.
And keeping with that, we've talked in the past, and I've found that your players have a great deal of respect for the program, for the staff, and for the coaching staff, which is a little bit different because your principal comes to your game. Your AD comes to your game.
And we have a lot of teachers that come to the game.
And teachers come to the game. And, you know, what your kids have had to deal with in the last year or two, it's been a roller coaster ride. You know, we've talked, you know, it's gone places where people told them, go back where you come from. Now you know what it feels like. Those are charged words. I'm not gonna, you know, I can't speculate, but the kids have handled that. You know, they've handled that.
They have handled it because we have these conversations about where we're going, what the potential environment may be like. We have this conversation often.
Right.
One thing that we do all the time, I do all the time before we get off the bus to go to anywhere, I remind them of the same things. We are here together. You are here to represent the school. I don't care about your first name. Your last name is the most important. If you got to go to concessions or bathroom, we go together.
There you go. And, you know, it's 2019, Coach Kirk. That's scary, you know, and it's sad that we're still having these conversations. And, you know, one of the segments that we're going to deal with later down the road is exactly that. What are we going to do about this climate that a lot of the teams are reporting back that they're going through?
I think the most important thing would be, I'm lucky, my administrative staff at the school and teachers, they support the program and they will go to the games. I think you got to get the school principals and ADs to sometimes travel with us when we go to these places so they can see what's really going on, and then we may be able to put together a plan. Like one of my plans, and I'll be honest with you,
Right.
if I have to go to a particular place again, I may take a forfeit.
That's a big statement.
And I won't call and let them know I'm coming.
That's a big statement.
And then if we got enough people, if I did it once, and if another program did it after, now someone may pay
Bring
attention to
awareness.
it.
Bring awareness.
And I, you know, I'm not saying that it's a great idea, but I think that you handle it the way it's presented. Because sometimes we got to look at it: is it the parents that's causing this issue, or is it because we can't? Sometimes we look at certain things and say, "All right, that school's the problem."
No, I won't say the school. It's a culture. It's a culture that never ended. It's a culture that never ended. It was suppressed, but now it's awake and live. But the problem is this: the forfeit will be the only way for me to really express it, because as coaches, one of our jobs is to protect our kids.
That's right.
Yes, yeah.
I will be protecting my kids and not to put them back in that environment.
Yeah.
And solid.
Well, there was another thing, and I think you answered it pretty much. It's the last thing that that's going to come from me. Do you think, as a whole, Western Mass schools, are we being represented like we're supposed to when we go out there? Meaning that when it's being dealt with, as far as, yes, Bay State has this type of support, but I think as a whole, that are we being represented in a way where we should be? We have this type of respect when we come out there?
I don't know. That's a great question. I can't speak for what any other program is doing. I don't know what they're doing. I can only speak on what my school and my admin staff completely do for me.
And like we talked the other day, Coach Kurt, is that in Dion, I said, I'd like to hear from the other side of the fence, because it's home and away.
No question.
So I'd like to hear how they feel, how some of the teams that have been mentioned over and over again feel that they're getting misrepresented when they come to play at Springfield.
Yeah.
So it would be a good topic of discussion
I agree.
for the MIAA or whatever organization to sit down and say, hey, let's talk about this.
I agree.
Why are people feeling such animosity towards you? Why are you feeling such animosity towards them? And if you can't come up with a good reason, then that's when we're gonna have the problem. That's when the problem is. So who do you guys play tonight, Coach?
Pioneer Valley Christian.
Now where are they from?
They're a local team in Springfield. They're out at Plumtree.
Oh yeah, that's a brand new gym up there.
Beautiful gym.
Great facility. Great facility. I was up there. Who's the head coach? I've known him for years. And
James Bridger.
good guy. Great program. Never heard anything, had any problems with them. Vice versa. I think it should be a great game. You got what going on? You got senior night tonight.
Senior night.
You got 4 or 5 seniors plus a lady.
That's a lady.
That's what's up. And I just found out you guys had a women's program last year. Now, how long was that women's program?
2 years.
2 years. So I guess I kind of found out when it was happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're learning.
Okay.
Learning. I try to help them as much as possible. The coach does a phenomenal job with what she has.
Okay.
So it's building.
Okay. So this is back to back. You guys had a game last night.
Yeah. Don't back to back league champions. Don't forget that.
Because I was getting something else. We were going to talk about. It was a great game. Had a great player on the other team. I Noah Lewis
Played well.
came out there and played well.
Played very well.
Silently talked a lot of trash.
He did. His daddy was the
Oh,
worst.
his dad was a bad guy.
I had to tell him to be quiet a couple times. You know,
had to walk that guy out the jail.
Listen,
Right.
you got to stop talking.
Well, his name is Noah Lewis, and this is Coach Kurt Lewis. Is that the same guy?
Yeah, that's his dad.
We're back with Hoop Topics, and we're gonna close up. First, I'm gonna tell Dion that I'm a very loud person. I love my son dearly,
Nothing wrong with that.
but I do also want to tell you that you always have respect for what you have done in this community
Thank you.
and what you're doing. And this is not camera related, it's just who I am, and I always want you to know that. But it's not going to change who I am.
Don't ever change who you are. Don't ever change.
And that's it for Hoop Topics. I hope this was enjoyable. I hope this was entertaining. And I hope the truth was spoken to you guys. Hoop Topics. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And thank you for hearing the voice of Dion Burton.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Look how I'm living now.